massive protest tonight as hundreds of cab drivers join an ongoing strike.
Drivers from Frias Transportation are jumping in with yellow checker star as the second company to go on strike this month. Fox 5's John Castanino is live at Frias headquarters with more on the story.
Yeah, guys, Metro Police, they're out here tonight to make sure nothing goes awry and they keep the peace. And so far, that has what's been taking place. It's hundreds of drivers from the largest cab company in Las Vegas. They turned in their vehicles this afternoon on strike, not just over treatment from their employer, but because of treatment from their own union. A spectacle of shouting and an endless stream of cabs. One by one, drivers pulled into the parking lot at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. Cabbies from Frias Transportation, supported by drivers already on strike from Yellow Checker Star, held a freedom rally going on strike over unfair working conditions, low wages, and the high cost of health benefits.
Now we want the public to know we are not the bad guys. We're good guys, but we have nowhere to go. We've been squeezed.
$480, $470 every 2 weeks for 5 days a week, 12 hours a day.
Just the health insurance and a little bit more in my pocket.
Steve Negrelli has been a Frias driver for 10 years and has no hesitation about going on strike, essentially giving up his job.
And if I'm fired tomorrow morning, so be it. I didn't go home after work today for a reason. To be with these people that are struggling also.
Thank you very much.
The rally then turned to a caravan, cabs driving single file to Frias headquarters where the vehicles were returned to the company. Drivers not only unhappy with Frias, but with their union, the United Steelworkers. They agreed to a labor deal March 11th and did not put it to a vote of the drivers.
This is not the solution. We did not agree to it. No members vote on it. This is a contract agreed to between the international USW and the company.
Shame on Mark! Shame on Mark!
The drivers want the company to come back to the bargaining table. And no response from Frias, the cab company, here tonight. They have no comment. The drivers hoping the casinos get involved a little bit here. But the really interesting wrinkle here is that there is a state law that says that you can't negotiate a contract between a union and an employer without presenting that contract to the drivers first. That's what the drivers are saying, is that they haven't even seen this contract that was ratified. So if that is in fact the case, they are breaking the law. We're live. John Castanino, Fox 5 News Local, Las Vegas.
Their frustrations would seem justified. John, thanks very much for that look. Yellow Checker Star went on strike on March the 3rd with backing by its union.
Drivers at a Second Valley cab company are now on strike. The cabbies at Frias Management have been picketing outside the company's headquarters. That's where we find Action News reporter Spencer Lubitz live, where the strike continues. Spencer.
Tricia, you can see on both sides of me, these cab drivers have been striking throughout the evening, well into the night, with no signs of slowing down. They tell me they're striking because their union went over their heads in negotiating a new employment contract with Frias Management, a contract these drivers say they never even got a chance to see.
Dozens of cab drivers for Frias Transportation Management surrounded the company's headquarters to publicly decry their union and their employer.
We are upset with everybody, with the corporation and the union.
The spokesperson for the drivers said their union has sold them out, agreeing on new employment terms with Frias without turning it over to the union members for a vote.
What is the group requesting? What would you guys like to see happen?
We hope that the company, the union, will decide come back to the table, negotiate a little more, or bring to the members.
Many of the protesters said their union needs to come to a better agreement with Frias, as they complained of long hours without overtime pay, 6-day work weeks, and poor treatment on the job.
I've been told I can't use a restroom. That's how we've been treated. I can't use a restroom. I was employed for the last, 5 years or more. They tell me you gotta leave. I can't use a restroom. I'm a human being. How do I feel?
What we want is what we want is what we want.
The drivers say they will continue to strike until union leaders and Frias Management return to the discussion table to agree on new terms.
How long do you think it will be before you're back to work?
Whatever it takes. I can't predict that.
The Frias cab drivers aren't alone out here. They've been joined by the striking cabbies at Yellow Checker Star Cab. We contacted Frias earlier today, but they said they have no comment on this strike. Reporting live near Tropicana and Valley View, Spencer Lubitz, Channel 13. Action
Las
News.
Vegas cab drivers still striking after a rally began Friday. Employees of Frias Transportation gathered outside company headquarters today.
Drivers are protesting what they say are unfair working conditions, low wages, and the high cost of health benefits. The men and women protesting don't agree with how they're being treated by company management.
There's no money in our paycheck anymore. We understand it's $300–400 million business. I don't begrudge them making that money, but share it with these innocent people who can barely feed their families.
The Frias drivers joined those from Yellow Checker Star who have been on strike since early March.
Dozens of Las Vegas taxi drivers headed up to Carson City today to protest the failure of a bill that they say would have prevented long hauling. It's Assembly Bill 329 would have allowed the Taxi Cab Authority to establish a flat rate fare for certain trips to and from the airport like you do see in some other big cities. That bill died without making it out of committee.
The strike is over as 1,800 cab drivers prepare to take a deal and return to work. I'm John Huck.
I'm Olivia Fierro. Drivers at Yellow Checker Star have been on strike for 2 months now. Fox 5's Matt DeLucia is live outside the cab company's offices with more on this long-awaited agreement.
Yeah, absolutely, Olivia and John. The strike lasted for 60 days, and as you mentioned, 1,800 drivers. Most of them spent their time on the picket line, and tomorrow morning, the Cab Drivers Union and the cab company here, Yellow Checker Star, plan to meet to sign the new deal. Now, this new contract, we're told, includes an increase in the driver's share of the meter, reinstatement of eligibility for a 4-day work week, and increases in annual bonuses, among other benefits. Now, the Industrial, Technical, and Professional Employees Union represents the drivers here at Yellow Checker Star, and they are calling this a victory. One of the biggest complaints, the union says, was against attempts to force senior drivers to work longer schedules, and cab drivers we spoke with say they're just looking forward to get back to work.
We didn't get everything 100% what we want. We got partial of the agreements, the contract, so very soon we're going back to work.
I hope they're going to respect us more, but we didn't get what we want, but it's okay. This is the beginning, it's not the end.
And we reached out to Yellow Checker Star for their thoughts on this deal, but at this point we are still waiting to hear back from them. And during the strike, the company began hiring replacement workers, and federal mediators stepped in to try to resolve the dispute. The union says all of the 1,800 striking workers here at Yellow Checker Star will return to the job at the same time tomorrow. We're live tonight. I'm Matt DeLucia, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
In a tourist town, that is quite important news, Matt. Thank you. A contract offer early on in the strike was rejected by 70% of the union members.
A new report out of Carson City shows last year, Nevada taxi drivers overcharged passengers by almost $15 million. All of it was done by taking riders the long way, known as long hauling. Fox 5's Doug Johnson joins us live in the newsroom now with what cab drivers are saying about this audit. Doug.
Yeah, well, John, cab drivers we spoke with today say it's easy to blame them for long-hauling passengers, but they say if state lawmakers are really interested in solving the problem, then they would go after the companies and the Taxi Cab Authority that they say encourages the long-hauling practice.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
I'm driving 30 years in town. Don't you think I know how to drive? I'm not stealing.
Brian Stanley is one of dozens of Yellow Checker Star drivers currently on strike. And believe it or not, he and others say taxi long hauling, where a driver goes the long way to charge more money, is what they're hoping to stop.
Most of the companies, if you don't produce, you don't work the next day.
These drivers say the cab companies put pressure on them to long haul by having a fair quota that drivers must meet or else be fired.
So if I want to keep my job, the only choice I have is to participate in the long hauling.
And today, a state report by the legislative auditor found potential long hauling in nearly 23% of the driver trip sheets, which added up to about $14.8 million by the end of the year. Currently, when long hauling tickets are written, only the driver is fined, something some would like to see changed.
There would be a flat rate that would be solving the problems, or the ticket should be the driver as well as the company.
The report also criticizes the Taxi Cab Authority for not auditing the cab companies for more than 3 years. That organization's administrator, Charles Harvey, declined an on-camera interview, but released this statement saying, quote, the Taxi Cab Authority accepts the audit recommendations to improve the effectiveness of internal controls and operational and compliance-related activities, and will put measures into place to address those findings. But these drivers say they doubt the Taxi Cab Authority or the companies will fix the problem.
I'd like to think it would change, but Nah, there's too much money involved.
Yeah, now we tried to get a comment from Yellow Checker Star, but a security guard at their front gate turned us away, said we would have to call back tomorrow. Meanwhile, the striking taxi drivers told us they plan to make a trip to Carson City tomorrow to protest the state legislature's failure to pass a bill which would have prohibited the practice of long hauling. Reporting live in our newsroom tonight, Doug Johnson, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
So the problem continues. Doug, thank you. Frias Transportation, the largest operator of taxis in Clark County, says it might also have a solution for long hauling. It hopes to have a computer hardware and software system which would track drivers' routes up and running.